Welcome back in, everybody. Average Joe Sports Talk here. My man Josh Abercrombie, the RTR of the show. My man Shannon Woods, Mr. Gator Chomp himself. And we are going to dive right into this week's official college football preview. We noticed that just by strictly followers, comments, and volume on our page, our Auburn versus Washington preview show got over 1,000 views in 1 week. So we're going to hit the big games, the big marquee games for the week. We're going to put out a show early before we put out our official preview show. So we're going to put out, a big game. We're going to dive a little bit into them, but this is our official weekly preview show. We will find a name for that. We'll call it big game, week game, whatever. We'll call it something cheesy. Anyway, so with this one right here, it's not just a preview show. We're actually going to talk, we're going to do the review of the couple of games that we could not miss due, obviously, to time that we filmed, but now we have it. Those two games being the Miami game and the FSU game. Now,
beautiful.
This was, you could not script anything better if you're a Florida Gator fan. From a recruiting aspect, from, a nation standard, across the nation, you see FSU down and Miami down, and they happen, on consecutive nights in front of the nation, where the whole nation's basically tuned in to watch those two teams collapse. I kind of expect that kind of thing out of Mark Richt. That's why he's not at Georgia. Last year, he put a Band-Aid or a facade over the aura of him at Georgia. Everybody's like, why Georgia get rid of this guy? I just don't understand. Now the Miami fans and the rest of the nation are seeing why they got rid of Georgia. This is Mark Richt at his best. He's up and down. He's up and down. He don't never coach good until his back's against the wall. Another prime example that Woods, I want you to talk about the magnitude of these two teams looking like they did in the state of Florida.
Yeah, like you said, as far as recruiting goes, and I'm one of those guys, that's a season to me, recruiting is. And there's a lot of battles in state. Now that Florida has Dan Mullen, there's a lot of battles in state that's going to be between those three teams again, to where it's been lopsided for Miami and FSU the last couple of years. And I actually saw a couple of DeJuan Black, who was actually committed to Mississippi State one time, but flipped to, he's a 4-star linebacker from Mississippi. He was, on there tweeting, and he's a big time recruiter. I mean, he's top 100 guy, and he's tweeting out at FSU commits and Miami commits, kind of razzing them a little bit. And that's the impact it has on these kids, nowadays it's about winning. It's a lot less about, hey, this is a Notre Dame, the powerhouse, or Michigan, or, whoever. It's about who's doing good right now.
We got the four horsemen here, baby.
Yeah, that's right.
Nick Rodney coached here.
It's exciting for me to sit and watch, because I love watching both of those teams lose. When they play each other, it's very hard for me to watch, and I hope it ends in a 0-0 tie. They both have negative yards rushing. And so it was a beautiful weekend for me. It was Willie Taggart. Wow,
terrible,
that guy he was bewildered on the sidelines. And it looked like when it was 17-3, and Virginia Tech had so many chances inside the 50-yard line there at the end. You're like, gosh, it's going to come back. Because how many times watch Thursday Night Football, FSU get beat the whole game, get our hopes up, and destroy us at the end, come back and win. And they tried. Akers ran that ball when it was 17-3, 11 minutes left in the game, takes off, 88 yards, gets tackled at 5-yard line. And kudos to that kid that came backside from the opposite side of the field, took a great angle and got him down. And the offense that's the only big play they had the whole night. Like, it was crazy. Next thing you know, it's 4th and 12 out there. They actually lost yards. Willie Taggart's he's bewildered. I mean, this guy, he's out of his league. I mean, he's way out of his league.
Dude, I said it when his name came up in the Gator, coach's search, and I was like, why? The guy is 47-50. The guy has done nothing. He has no conference titles. And they say he's a great recruiter. Really? I mean, you got low-hanging fruit that comes and walks their way onto your campus at South Florida. Mm-hmm. And then you're at the nation's, I don't think there's even a question, the nation's best facility, backed by Nike themselves at Oregon. Who could not recruit in those two places? Mm-hmm. You get every reject on the man. Josh, just from an ACC standpoint, what does that do for their conference to get in two of their top 3 marquee teams to get embarrassed like that?
Yeah, I mean, granted, Virginia Tech from the ACC beat them, Florida State, but still, that's 2 of your top teams in your conference going down.
In a bad way.
And had it happened on Saturday, the might not would have taken notice, but for it to happen on a Sunday and on a Monday, as the only 2 games on that day, just a bad look for the ACC.
I agree.
I think they got, let's see here, I think they've got three teams in the top 25 compared to the SEC 7. So,
Who do you think of those two teams? Who do you think can actually make the turnaround from week 1?
Miami.
I'd say Miami just because Rick's way more established than that guy.
Rick he's going to get you 10 wins. I mean, that's what he did year in and year out. He
Not
never.
this year.
Yeah.
I actually disagree with you guys. I think it's FSU, and the reason I say that is the Cam Akers. First of all, he's elite.
Yeah.
DeAndre Francois is nowhere near as bad. Remember, that's his first game back in a long, almost a year. I expect him to be back. And I'm gonna tell you something. That FSU defense played their butts off. I mean, they played their tails off.
Second half.
In the second half. Yeah, I mean, Virginia Tech could have shut the door so many times, but FSU defense stepped up. I expect them to not be that bad, that terrible. So I would pick them a little more than Miami. That's their quarterback. Miami's quarterback's atrocious.
I still
They
say
had 5 turnovers.
Yeah.
I still say you got a coach named Willie though. I mean,
That-
you can
that-
chop it up and X's and O's and Jimmy's and Joe's. His name's Willie.
That does hurt.
I mean,
The Florida State offensive line is garbage.
Oh yeah,
For
they're bad.
wrestling.
Francois gonna be back on the bench if they don't start protecting better than that. Now, without beating a dead horse, we're gonna move on from that and dive into some of our games of the week. One of the games that I think we found pretty interesting that Josh and I talked to about is Mississippi State at Kansas State. This is one we didn't touch on our other preview show, but it's one that definitely needs to be made mention because Manhattan, Kansas is a very, very tough place to play.
Hard place to play.
Yeah, bring it on. So that is a very interesting game right there. Give me your take on that game, Josh.
Kansas State last week, they barely beat South Dakota 27-24. Nick Fitzgerald didn't play for Mississippi State, so this will be his season opener. Right now, the line is sitting at -9. I expect Mississippi State to cover that.
Bet the house on that.
Yeah.
Yes, please bet the house. Bet the mortgage. Put your marriage on the line. Whatever you got to do, that's going to be.
Maybe some people will want
It's going to be ugly.
a breakup. Would you see anything? You think it's a straight blowout?
It's I had the same thing. I had Kansas State struggled to beat South Dakota. Needed 15 fourth quarter points just to beat them. Their quarterback was atrocious. 60 yards passing. He did have 7 yards rushing. Threw an interception. Fitzgerald coming back, and I know the Thompson kid from Mississippi State played well last week, but that Fitzgerald comes back. He's half the kid he was last year. Mississippi State is one of the most dangerous teams in the West. I know everybody talks about Alabama's and Auburn's and but Joe Moorhead's got them boys playing in Mississippi State, and actually, in my opinion, besides Dan Mullen, is probably one of the biggest hires in the country, and Jeffrey Simmons and Montez Sweat, they'll be ready to play, and they'll put it on there.
Another point is anybody's going to have a tough time moving the ball against Mississippi State
Yes.
in front, especially a team that couldn't even move the ball consistently against South Dakota.
That Mississippi State front seven.
Yeah.
I look for a 37-3 win.
Wow.
Kansas State's awful.
Somebody go get the deed to
State's-
my house. I'm fixing.
Yeah, hey, it's bad. -9, that's easy money right
Well, I'm going to tell you something. Go ahead.
We talked to a guy off air, big Mississippi State guy, and Kansas State's right now. What is it? They're going through a quarterback controversy.
Yeah.
They don't even know who's going to be playing.
They
Yeah,
don't
but it's two terrible
Everyone's injured, too.
quarterbacks. It's two terrible quarterbacks fighting it out, so it's not like we got two great quarterbacks. So
like Alabama.
yeah.
But I do think if he can showcase Fitzgerald to get him back in the Heisman hunt on a road game like this, it's going to have national recognition. This is a place to do it, and for a fact he's going to empty the clip.
I'm telling you, this is setting up for a Mississippi State undefeated Mississippi State versus Florida.
That's what it's running into, and that's going to be, in my opinion,
Game of the week.
the game. It could be game of the year for both teams.
On our schedules, yeah.
Yeah,
Could possibly be, no doubt. That being said, we're going to move on to another game. That's a little bit tricky. Colorado at Nebraska. Normally this game will pop up and Scott Frost, all that, you're going to just rip right into Nebraska and you're going to think they're just going to run up through them. They're not so fast, my friend.
They're not so fast, my friend.
Tell them what Colorado did last week to Colorado State.
Colorado beat Colorado State 45-13. Now, Nebraska has not played a game yet. They ended up canceling that Akron game, which there was a little bit of controversy behind. Akron could not find a hotel room, and they've got plans to tentatively to make it up if one of them needs it to become bowl eligible. Right now, the game is sitting at Nebraska's favorite by 3.5. I wouldn't be surprised if Colorado covered.
Is that?
At
Nebraska.
Cool.
It'll be interesting, man.
The only thing about the Colorado game, Colorado State, I wouldn't read too much in that because obviously Colorado State's still suffering from the Jim McElwain.
There he goes.
So,
He's gonna find somebody to link it back.
Yeah, I mean it's so I don't read too much into that, but yeah, I'll go Nebraska 27-21 just because it's at Nebraska.
All right, let's move on down the list here. Another game, really intriguing matchup. Josh and I spoke about this one off there. It's Penn State at Pitt. Pitt's usually perennially a hard place to go play, especially the colder it gets. We don't have to face that right now, but as bad as Penn State looked this last week, are they going to have a hangover? Can they recover? Can McSorley get back in the Heisman hunt?
It's kind of one of those games where, say, a perennial powerhouse plays terrible, and everybody's like, oh, they're not as good, and then they come back next week and they destroy a team that they really shouldn't be destroying. I think Penn State's going to come back this week with a vengeance, and I believe they'll 37-21, 37-17-ish.
Do you need my pen to do the...
I don't know.
I swear.
Hey, Pitt is where playoff hopes and dreams go to
You're
die.
right. You are right.
Especially the color.
Who did they get last year? Miami?
Yeah, but
I think they have played a determining factor in the playoff picture every year.
Didn't they miss a field goal against Clemson 2 years ago?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're right. I mean, it is. They are. But
So Pitt, they are known, at least in my mind, for losing the games they shouldn't lose. I mean, they'll lose to a nobody and then come back
Their
out
tails off it.
and you click by it and you're like, whoa, wait, it's a close
Yeah.
game.
Dan Marino. That's all you know. I'm just kidding. No, wait. Tommy
Fitzgerald.
Dorsett. Tommy
Fitzgerald.
Dorsett. Yeah, Tommy Dorsett.
Yeah.
What are we talking about, brother? Got a lot of history there.
they do.
I don't know, man. I'm kind of in the belief that I kind of think Penn State's going to bounce back, though.
Mark May.
Yeah, it's good know. It's no. All right, those of you who will be awake for this game.
Let me add this real quick. The line on that is Penn State minus 8.5.
Yeah, 8.5.
I think they'll cover.
Yeah, I think so too.
USC and Stanford. Now that's an interesting matchup to say the least.
You put the kids to bed, go sit in your recliner and watch it. Try to stay awake till the fourth quarter.
If you're a heavy drinker like some college football fans are, watch this. This is the games you usually dozing off through, but I think this one's going to keep you up.
Yeah.
This one's probably going to keep you up because I think this is going to be an actual good football game. Stanford's definitely a lot more physical than him, as usual, as advertised. They're actually favored 5 in this game. It's at Palo Alto, which is a dangerous place to play, no matter who it is. So, how do you see that game playing out, Josh?
I love David Shaw as a head coach.
Solid.
I would not.
3 times Coach Harbaugh is.
Yes.
I mean, 3 times.
No, not so fast.
Yeah.
Jim Harbaugh hired McElwain. That's a great hire.
All validity for him just for Harbaugh's out the door. What he had left's gone.
With that being said, Bryce Love, who was a lot of people's Heisman favorite going into the season, 18 rushes for 29 yards. What is that about?
Yeah, you're right.
And then USC with the true freshman JT Daniels, he looked solid, especially considering he's a freshman. I like this to be a close game.
You think they'll cover the 5?
Well, yeah, I think they will. I like it to be close for a while. I think Stanford will pull away. Last week, USC allowed UNLV to rush for 308 yards.
Gosh.
Now you got Bryce Love coming off of a bad week.
That was a close game until late in the second half. They pulled away at the end. So
if UNLV can put up 308 yards, I expect Bryce Love to have a pretty good comeback.
he'll be back in the Heisman conversation.
Yeah.
You got him and KJ Costello, the seasoned quarterback. JT Daniels, freshman quarterback coming in. Palo Alto. All of that combined, I think it's a little too much. And Stanford's defense, of course, with their head coach. It's outstanding. They're senior laden. I don't see it being. I'll go 31-10.
They're going to have to get those defensive up front problems fixed because this guy starts running downhill on you.
He could drop 300 to 400.
I'm going to say you're in trouble. And they're one of them teams that keep on pushing.
Yeah, Stanford's an SEC team.
Yeah,
out west.
They are. They're very set up similar. I mean, yeah, that's a very intriguing matchup. One of the other games we want to touch on is this UCLA Oklahoma game. If any of you people out there watching this, what do you think the point spread on that game is?
28. I don't know what it is really.
I think it's going to be more around 30.5.
Where's it at?
It's at Oklahoma.
30.5.
Oh, it is 30.5.
Chip Kelly, come on, man. You was going to come to Gainesville, right? Remember you toying with it and everything. You look like trash the first week. He's about to walk into the word reality this week. He's cruising on up to Norman, and that guy is about to get pants in front of the whole nation.
Yeah, Kyler Murray, they're going to blow him out. It's going to be ugly. And we talked about Ohio State being one of those teams that'll destroy you if they can. Oklahoma is the exact same way. They scored 77 last week, right?
Yeah.
Dude, they'll score that many on UCLA if they're not careful. And with Chip Kelly's offense, it doesn't do the defense any favors. So you get a few 3 and outs, it's 28-0 before you even know what's going on.
Oh man, they're going to be sucking wind second quarter.
Yeah, it's going to get ugly quick.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if Oklahoma covered.
Surely he'll slow the game down, Chip Kelly, not be hard-headed.
He better slow the game.
I think you're overestimating him.
Chip Kelly, yeah. He's going to get out there and sling it around 3 and out, 35-0.
This is obviously Average Joe's. We do talk about stuff across the nation, but each week we're going to at least spend a little time on this game. This one's not so much. Alabama, Arkansas State. Show up, win, head to the house.
The Tua talk's going to get worse. He's going to throw for 300 yards and 6 touchdowns, and he's going to be the next Super Bowl 52, 3, 4, 5, 6 MVP.
Heard it here first.
Yeah, I mean, they'll just
Somewhere creation's going, yes!
Yeah, Hurts will get in, whenever, I guess. It probably shouldn't take Alabama long. Maybe by second quarter, Hurts will be in. And he'll do his thing and not be as flashy as Tua and get overlooked, and that's fine. But Alabama, they'll destroy him. They'll get the running game going big time this week. All 3 running backs Najee Harris, 3, right?
The Harrises,
Jackson,
Robinson.
4 or 5. That's 7, 8, 9.
They get the whole stable out there.
Yeah, the whole running back. They'll destroy him, obviously.
Anything you want to throw in there?
You're asking me my opinion on the quarterbacks?
No.
No, you're trying to bait me into saying something bad about Jalen Hurts. I ain't gonna do it. You can just quit asking me.
That's good stuff.
That's pretty
Alabama covers 36.5 points.
Oh, is it 36.5? That's way too low.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's talk about Auburn. Alabama State, more of the same. But now Auburn, I think Auburn I had a little bit of a letdown. What's the line on that game?
No idea.
Well,
a lot.
It don't matter what it is. Auburn's, they should be favored 30. But anyways, Auburn, I don't see them having any kind of trouble with them, do you? That's...
No, it's, like we talked about before, this is a down week for a lot of teams. You want to go in there, you want to get some reps, clean up some of the things that mistakes you made in the first week, and get out of there with no injuries.
That's the main thing in games like this. That's what we were talking about on our high school preview.
The biggest improvement a team makes is probably from week 1 to week 2.
It's hard to improve play teams like that. It's the only thing, it's how do you get up for that? How do you,
Yeah, because you've been prepping for Washington.
Yeah. That's why he's a bit of a letdown, but there's just man for man across the board. They just beat.
My personal line on that game would be 36.
I'm actually really looking forward to seeing that backup quarterback, Malik Willis.
Yeah, the one behind Sid. No, you're talking about the one, the freshman that just got there?
Yeah. The baseball player?
It's Malik, isn't it, Willis?
Yeah, I'm thinking of the other guy.
Well, yeah, Malik is going to be the second string, but we may see third string.
What's his name? I'll think of it as soon as we go off there.
Yeah.
As soon as we got there, I think of it. But anyways.
The only time Malik Willis gets on the field is Steven's going for the Heisman.
That's the plan. That's what Wood's calling. This is Average Joe Sports Talk. So please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the bell beside it to get all the notifications when we drop new videos. Have a good night.